Rent a Girlfriend. Recently, I made a post on my community tabs asking for anime that you guys hate and that I'd watch and review the most upvoted one. I have never been more horrified to see that Rent a Girlfriend was the most upvoted one with an insane 70 upvotes. To say that Rent a Girlfriend is a divisive anime might be a massive understatement. I've seen some people who really like this show while others absolutely despise it. And I won't lie, this show made me want to tear my hair out so many damn times. Oh my god! Anyways, to show that I'm not just talk and that I do walk the walk, I ended up binge watching 3 entire seasons or 36 episodes of Rent a Girlfriend in 3 days, and it went so great. I just finished episode 5 of Rent a Girlfriend and I am in immense pain. I watched 12 episodes of Rent a Girlfriend today, and the only good part about this show is the opening. I want to kick the main character in the balls. This show makes me want to tear my hair out. Just finished episode 30 of Rent a Girlfriend. This show is exhausting. 36 episodes of this garbage in 3 days has got to be like a lethal amount of Rent a Girlfriend for any human to watch, right? Like, it doesn't sound healthy. I think my brain has been poisoned by overdosing on Rent a Girlfriend. Anyways, today I have a lot to say about this show. Hello everybody, my name is Leo Hashi, and today I watched Rent a Girlfriend, so you don't have to. Unless you already have seen it, then I am so sorry. Before we dive into it, this video is my own personal opinion, and obviously you're allowed to have your own. Whether you like the show or hate it and despise its existence like I do, leave your opinions in the comments below, because I'm curious to see what you guys think. Oh, and also, just in case you do want to watch this show for yourself, heavy spoiler warnings, because I do not give a fuck about what I spoil for who at this point. First off, what is Rent a Girlfriend? It's a harem anime about Kazuya Kinoshita, a college student and the most insufferable simp in anime history. After getting dumped by his first ever girlfriend, he decides the best way to cope is by paying a girl to pretend to like him. Meet Chizuru Mizuhara, the picture-perfect rental girlfriend who's way out of his league. What follows after this is a never-ending cycle of forced misunderstandings, love triangle bullshit, and Kazuya making the absolute worst decisions possible at every opportunity. Instead of actually growing as a person, Kazuya spends 3 whole seasons flip-flopping between simping for Chizuru, thirsting over his ex, and leading on multiple girls while having zero backbone for the entire runtime of the show. The series milks the same bullshit-ass drama, stretches a paper-thin plot over way too many episodes, and refuses to let anything meaningful actually happen. It's a rom-com where the romance is non-existent, and the comedy is watching how much worse Kazuya can actually get as a person. At this point, Rent a Girlfriend isn't really an anime. It's more of a social experiment to see how much secondhand embarrassment a person can handle before rage quitting the anime. Are you a masochist who likes wasting their time watching a romance anime where the romance actually never happens and the closest thing we actually get to a happy ending is some scenes of the main character jacking off in his room, then throwing his nasty ass rags on the floor? Then this show is the show for you. Bro, the garbage can is right there, you gross piece of shit. Just throw it out. So the entire story begins with Kazuya Kinoshita, the main character who you will hear me continually roast throughout the entirety of this video. If there was a Mount Rushmore of the worst main characters ever in anime, Kazuya would definitely be one of the heads. You can tell that anime is actually fiction because there's no f***ing reality where Kazuya would ever actually be the center of any harem whatsoever. He is first and foremost a pervert. He's like giga pervert, omega pervert. I don't know what the f***ing description is, but on God, dog, this man is the god of all gooners. He is the gooning god. All the other gooners bow down to Kazuya. A very important and vital aspect of the show is scenes of Kazuya straight up just gooning in his room. We canonically see him goon. It's absolutely insane, but also it's like really fucking weird. You know those like awkward moments where like someone just says something weird and all you can do is really laugh because you don't know how else to react? That's like kind of what this is like. Is this something that I really needed or wanted to see? Did it add any value to my life whatsoever? Kazuya is introduced to us as this sort of loser. In the first episode, he immediately begins acting down catastrophic by letting us know just how much of a virgin he is and that his first ever girlfriend, Mami, had broken up with him. Heartbroken, instead of dealing with this extremely sad and emotional situation in a bit more of a mature way, he decides to instead rent out a girlfriend by paying for their artificial plastic love. I know that's plastic love. We're then introduced to Chizuru Mizuhara, or real name Chizuru Ichinose. She's the main heroine of the show. Heroine? Dude, I still don't know how to say that word. You know, the one girl that the main character ends up with at the end of the show. And she's basically the face of the show and the one people recognize. During their first fake-ass date, Chizuru is very friendly to Kazuya, clearly putting on an act as the ideal girlfriend. Although the date ended and the two never expected to meet again, it turns out that by some twist of fate, they actually go to the same college, and not only that, but they're next door neighbors? Oh my god, what a coincidence! At first, I thought Chizuru was like whatever, basic ass, fan service ass, tsundere ass girl who acts fake as hell and wears a mask like Dream, but slowly opens up to Kazuya as he continues to rent her over the course of the series and pays her an insurmountable amount of cash like a tier 3 Pokemon sub. But then you realize that beneath all of the fan service and the raunchy angle shots of various parts of her body is a tragic character with an even more tragic case of terminal tsundere. Anyways, crazy and fun twists and shit happen, and Chizuru is forced to pretend to be Kazuya's girlfriend because Kazuya is too much of a fucking little coward to actually be honest about anything. When his two closest gooner friends bumps into him with Chizuru on their fake date, the two friends are extremely jealous as Kazuya, instead of being honest about it, decides to say that she is his actual girlfriend. And this is an act that continues on with more people, eventually culminating in Chizuru being introduced to Kazuya's family as his actual girlfriend, and vice versa, you know, Kazuya being introduced to Chizuru's grandma, Sayuri, as her actual boyfriend. But because now they're way too deep into the lies and everyone believes that they're a genuine couple, they feel like it's too late to actually tell the truth about the relationship. And so they decide to continue the fake relationship to fool everyone else around them. And fun and wonderful hijinks happen as they meet more fun and quirky girls, all in one way or another becoming affiliated and somewhat obsessed with Kazuya. We get to also watch as Kazuya and Chizuru become closer to each other as their fake relationship begins to bleed into each other's personal lives as they slowly but surely catch feelings of love for each other in a beautiful story of slow burning romance. Oh, wait, sorry. Did I say it culminates into a relationship? I meant to say it will never fucking culminate into anything worth jack shit because this ain't a fucking slow burning romance. It's the slowest goddamn burning romance in all of existence. It's so damn slow, you start to forget there's actually a romance anime beneath all of this dog shit. This show is just a constant, never-ending form of blue balls in the shape of anime. You are fed the same type of garbage over the course of the series, episode after episode, only to end up in the same exact spot where you started. And it definitely does not taste good at all. But you know what does taste good? Japanese snacks. This video is sponsored by Tokyo Tree and Sakurako. Tokyo Tree is a fun and exclusive Japanese snack subscription box filled with limited edition Kit Kats, specialty flavored Japanese chips, seasonal treats, and occasional Japanese sodas that are only available in Japan for a limited time. Sakurako is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local snack makers across Japan. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and a special Japanese tableware. You already know what time it is. Every month, Tokyo Tree and Sakurako come with a theme. This month's theme is, I guess we'll find out. Woo! Here's the information booklet that comes with every box. This month's theme is cherry blossoms. March is the season when cherry blossoms begin to show, and you know, things outside are very nice. As you can see, there's a lot of events like surrounding the cherry blossoms. Let's find out what the snacks are for this month. This is a strawberry shortcake Kit Kat, cherry blossom themed marshmallows, peach mochi. These are onion flavored snacks, sakura blossom cake, sour plum salt crackers, sakura donut, pistachio and strawberry flavored pie nomi, baked potato poriki sticks, Hakata tonkotsu ramen, blossom viewing chocolate bites, crispy fried rice crackers, and finally Japanese mixed rice crackers. You know, I always enjoy Japanese chips, so we'll start with this. It's like pinkish. I don't know if you can tell if the camera would focus. Oh! Sorry, it's so good. I had to just let that out. This is too dangerous. I don't even know how to describe it. This is what I think the kids call bussin'. I'm super curious about these, the mochi. So it looks like this. Hey, yo! This is it. This is where it's at. Oh my god, this is fire. The best way I could describe it, it's like a peach flavored haichu, but more like mochi. It's good. Strawberry shortcake Kit Kat. Bon appetit. Ooh. Ooh. If you like strawberry shortcake, well, this is pretty much that in Kit Kat form. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it. Now we're gonna try the onion puffs. Bussin'! Oh, next up, let's go through the Sakurako box for a month. Ta-da! Here's the information booklet. For this month's Sakurako box, we have sweet sakura tea, sakura kohakuto, which is like a hard candy, sakura daifuku, which is a type of mochi, sakura karinto, which is like a brown sugar fried snack kind of thing. This is a ryokucha usuyaki. It's a matcha flavored thin cookie. This is sakura konpeto, which is like a traditional small Japanese candy, a strawberry Belgian waffle. This is a sakura manju, sakura mochi, ume senbei, which is a rice cracker with with the sour plum flavoring, strawberry waffle cookies, umeokoshi, which is the traditional Japanese snack made of puffed rice and syrup. And no, I'm not reading this off of it, okay? I know all of it. Kabukiage. Every month, Sakurako comes with a special item, a traditional Japanese item. And this month, oh, jeez. That's nice. This is a sake cup with sakura theming. I don't really enjoy drinking that much, but let's try some of this, all right? I want to try the sakura mochi. Ooh, it's like glittery pink. Oh, wow. It's what you'd expect from mochi, but it's good. You got the sakura daifuku? No, it's not the same thing. It's mochi, but it has red bean paste inside of it, okay? Oh, that's good. Oh my God. If you like mochi, you might really like this month's Sakurako box. Sorry, it's melting in my mouth. I'm curious about these, the sour plum flavored rice crackers. Oh, it's like a savory, maybe a little bit sweet. And because I don't really enjoy drinking too much, but I did want to try the sake glass, here's a video of me pouring water into the sake glass and then taking a shot of water, like a mature, responsible adult. Cheers, mate. Nothing like a shot of water to keep me going. I also decided to try the sweet sakura tea. All you have to do is mix it with some hot water for a minute and it's ready to drink. It's got a bit of sweetness to it. It's a little hard to describe. Like the only way I could describe the flavor is cherry blossom. But it was really refreshing and I enjoyed it a lot. But anyways, yeah, those are next month's Sakurako and Tokyo Treat boxes. If you would like to get your own or maybe buy it for someone else as a gift, then you can go to the link in my description below and use code LEOHASHI at checkout to get $5 off of your first order of Tokyo Treat or Sakurako. Thank you once again to Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the main video, shall we? Although Kazuya might be the main protagonist, Chizuru is clearly the center of the story. I mean, Kazuya's story is basically just simping for Chizuru. We learn about Chizuru through Kazuya's eyes and his exhausting inner monologues. We see him basically admit to himself and all of us that he's fallen head over heels in love with Chizuru pretty early on in the series. We also see that Chizuru is also clearly starting to develop feelings for Kazuya, but she continually denies it to the point where it just gets really irritating. And the entire show becomes about their relationship while also trying to be a harem at the same time. Here's the thing about Rent-a-Girlfriend. It's a harem anime where the final result is made painfully obvious from the beginning. We all know that Kazuya is going to end up with Chizuru. And sure, the other girls might like Kazuya too, but none of them matter because the story is basically just about Chizuru and Kazuya, and everyone else is just kind of a plot device. Why do we need all of this artificial, made-up drama between these characters when ultimately, well, none of it's gonna matter anyway? It just feels like a stupid waste of time at some point to continually watch Kazuya get closer to these other girls when you know that none of these relationships will actually ever happen anyway because he's going to fucking end up with Chizuru. Like who cares? And honestly, Chizuru and Kazuya as main characters and the main romantic ship, they kind of suck. But in that very special, ironic way, they truly do belong to each other. Obviously, they're going to end up together, so we're basically just getting to watch this absolutely torturous process of the slowest burning romance, and we'll finally get to see a confession in the year 2125 at this rate. Gosh, can't wait! Let's talk about Kazuya first. Kazuya has absolutely no backbone whatsoever, and this never seems to change throughout the entire show. He is shown to be extremely insecure about himself and basically sees himself as a giant loser and a lesser being than everyone around him. We constantly hear his inner monologues throughout the show, and these inner monologues might be one of the worst parts of this whole entire series. It is fucking exhausting listening to this guy whine about the same type of bullshit for 36 entire episodes straight without missing a single beat. I swear, he has an annoying inner monologue in like every single episode of this show. He is basically the anime version of the phrase, "How can I make this all about me?" Kazuya feels like a self-insert character for someone who never actually wants to change or improve themselves. He's a character who time and time again shows us that he's all talk, but he can never actually walk the walk. He will always inner monologue about getting better, working harder, or how much better everyone else is than him, especially Chizuru. He constantly has these woe is me type of monologues in his head where it's always just about him. It's always about how he's never good enough or how he's always a bother to everyone else, how he's a problem and no one wants him around. And while these are feelings that I can personally relate to having felt at some point in my personal life as well, it's really fucking annoying when he does this. Like every time anything remotely negative happens in this damn series, sometimes not even really that related to Kazuya, this fucking dude just starts wallowing in self-pity. But somehow, through God or divine intervention, I guess, everything ends up working out in some way. And Kazuya only proves to us again and again that ultimately he just never truly changes. One thing I absolutely hate that Kazuya constantly does is this thing where he assumes what everyone else is thinking for them. Like something happens between him and a girl, and instead of directly trying to resolve the situation by, I don't know, communicating a little more honestly, he just spends most of the show just crying about it in his head like, oh, she must hate me now, I'm such a bother, yada yada yada. And at some point it just gets really exhausting to watch. This is coming from a place of, I understand that feeling of anxiety when you really don't know how someone else might be feeling about what you said or did, and making the worst assumptions so that you won't get hurt as much just in case you're right. You know, it's kind of a defense mechanism, and it's something that I've personally struggled with before in my own life as well. But there's a point where it's just like exhausting to watch this in the show, and some of the things he does because of this is just incredibly creepy and borderline stalking. Like for example, when Kazuya ditched Ruka, a girl who actually genuinely likes him, on Christmas Day in order to stalk what he thought was a date between Chizuru and another dude, only to find out that it wasn't a date and they're just classmates in acting school. Like, it's just embarrassing at a certain point to watch, you know? I understand having this problem of anxiety, but the thing is, he never tries to actively change it in any way. He's just always stuck in the same old way of thinking, and it's the same cycle over and over again. If I wanted to hear about this kind of thing, I just go and read my old diary entries from years ago. I'm not really trying to watch this kind of thing in an anime personally. Dear God, it is not entertaining to watch. Real talk, 99% of all of his idiot's problems stem from his lack of having any balls or a backbone. He is the biggest coward I've ever seen in anything. It almost makes me feel better about myself. All of his problems could have been solved if he had just been honest from the first fucking moment. The reason why Chizuru had to continue being Kazuya's fake girlfriend was because Kazuya had lied to his grandma about the relationship in the first place. Kazuya's grandmother apparently really wanted to see him find a girlfriend before she died, so Kazuya couldn't bring himself to tell her the truth when she looked so happy about it, leading to the next few hundred chapters of the manga. He could have just, I don't know, told his grandma the truth. She can handle it. Sure, she might really like Chizuru almost to an exhausting point, but honestly, who gives a shit? Who cares? In the end, Kazuya, your marriage is yours, not your grandma's. I think it's just a really stupid and weak plot point in my opinion. Sure, grandma would have been sad to find out about the truth, but she could have gotten over it in like, what, a week or something? And this is a constant throughout the series too, where Kazuya continues to try to worm himself out of difficult situations by never actually taking any accountability, telling lie after lie to everyone around him, which is an action that usually ends up hurting someone in the end. And yeah, of course, as a harem protagonist, it's almost like a fucking requirement at this point that he's a completely and absolutely hopeless pervert. The way he cannot control himself around a single body cell of a woman is absolutely unbearable. Like, they're a human being, dude. Calm the hell down. It's almost like he's not a dude with a penis, but more like a penis with a dude hanging off of it. They could be having the most normal of conversations between the two, but all this dude can think about is how cute the girl looks in her clothes. It is so dumb. Yeah, if his inner monologues aren't about wallowing in his self-pity, then it's usually about a girl's body. The amount of times Kazuya has described the girls in his inner monologues feels almost criminal at this point. He has this way of describing different parts of women's bodies in different, very descriptive, unique, and colorful ways, like the Japanese Shakespeare. This is way too overdone and quickly gets really annoying, okay? It is exhausting hearing this dude's inner thoughts about how good or cute Chizuru looks, okay? Like, we get it. You think she's hot. Like, it makes me wonder, do you really want her for her personality? It feels like this man only sees this girl for her body and really nothing else. Even during moments like when Chizuru is going through a life-altering event where she's losing the literal last blood family member she has left alive, he cannot help himself. But imagine Chizuru without any clothes on. That's just like the default state of his brain at this point, bro. And after Chizuru's grandma tragically passes away, bro's out here trying to cheer her up after her grandma's death, but is still getting distracted by her ass. Can you not do that for 1 second, man? Please? Also, remember how I told you that he's the Gunnar god? Well, look at his room! What the f is wrong with his room? There's always his Gunnar gunk depositories. Kazuya seems like he's not the only person to blame for his behavior. Have you seen the way his family treats him? If you haven't seen the show, they are so mean to him. I know they roast him a lot for like jokey and comedy purposes, but these people are way too comfortable with demeaning their own son over and over again. It becomes a little uncomfortable how much they make fun of him sometimes for being unpopular with girls and how it's God's miracle that anyone would ever love him. Like, no shit, he hates himself. I would fucking hate it too if my family kept telling me over and over again that no girl could ever love me because I'm just that much of a shitty fucking whatever. Like, it kind of makes sense why he is the way he is. Does that really excuse any of Kazuya's behavior? No, because ultimately he's in a adult and he can make his own damn decisions, but his family really not any better. They honestly kind of suck. He ultimately becomes a giant simp for Chizuru, and it's almost like he starts worshipping her as a goddess rather than an actual human being. He canonically struggles to send a basic text or even add this girl on a messaging app after a whole year of knowing each other. Like, he's absolutely crashing out over like, oh my god, oh, should I add her as a friend online? It's been a year, dog. She's a damn human, not a deity. Just add her, bro. The way he puts her on a pedestal is so insane to me. The way Kazuya thinks and acts throughout the show, this is how I used to act back in middle school. To a certain point, I can kind of sympathize with some of his actions, if any, but there's only so much self-pity bullshit I can handle before he stops being sympathetic and just starts becoming annoying. We don't actually see him try to actively change or better himself. Everything just happens to work out for him in a way where he doesn't truly need to change. If I want to watch someone repeat the same cycles over and over again, I'll just go to YouTube and look up Amberlynn Reed, okay? That's a very obscure reference, but anyway. Kazuha is just a trashy main character. I think he was funny sometimes, but that was more because his voice actor was really good. He is infuriatingly stagnant as a character, and let's be real, a lot of storytelling, you know, involves character development, and we have none of that here. And while I don't think Kazuya is truly evil or malicious, he still sucks ass. Like, sure, we see him being portrayed as a good guy, but he's only a good guy to Chizuru. He's a selfish little snot-nosed asshole when it comes to the other characters. The way he treats Ruka is not how I'd imagine an actual good guy would treat any human being, really, but I'll talk about that more later. Now it's time to talk about Chizuru and how much I can't stand her either. I say this truly and from the bottom of my heart. Chizuru and Kazuya truly do belong together because they are both just as unchanging as the other. They both always keep playing this game of, oh, I want to change, but then going back to being the same exact as before, as if nothing ever happened. Like, you think you'll actually see her try to change even just a little bit, but then nothing about her character actually changes that much. She's still mostly the same, and everything is still the same, and nothing fucking matters. And that's basically the entire show in one single sentence. Chizuru is a character who has a terminal case of tsundere. It's so bad that it actually makes the show actively worse, in my opinion. Like, it's not even an endearing type of tsundere either. It's just really, really frustrating. She's kind of cold and distant due to tragic happenings in her life growing up, but has a love and passion for acting like no other. She works hard and always has a smile on her face, despite all of the awful pain that she's gone through. And Kazuya, in her monologue, compliments her a lot. He's always like, oh, she's always super mature and she's so calm and such a respectable and strong girl. And during these inner monologues where he overtly compliments Chizuru, he then usually ends the sentence with, unlike me. Can you see why this can get really annoying really fast? Throughout the series, we see her begin to feel more comfortable with Kazuya as the two become more involved in each other's personal lives. Chizuru's backstory is honestly sad. Her dad left their family, her mom died when she was young, so she had to move in with her grandparents, and her grandpa died from a car accident. Now her grandma, her only blood relative and support, is in the hospital. It makes sense as to why she is the way she is. I think Chizuru's story, at least with her family and not with Kazuya, was one of the more engaging parts of the story. Let me tell you about a particular story arc that I genuinely did like, involving Chizuru's grandma's sickness and an eventual tragic death. We get an explanation as to why Chizuru was even being a rental girlfriend in the first place. As a young girl, she was inspired by her grandma's past as an actress and wanted to become an actress herself. Her grandpa was very supportive of her and pushed her to chase her dreams, saying that dreams do come true. Unfortunately, her grandpa died in a car crash. Since then, it's only been her and her grandma, and now she wants her grandma to at least see her on the silver screen. Sayuri, despite being sick in the hospital, maintains a smile and optimism about it all, even making morbid jokes about her passing and reviving. On a side note, Sayuri might actually be my favorite character in this series. Like, I think she was actually the GOAT. The harem. I want to go out with Sayuri. I'm not even gonna lie. No, I'm not falling in love, guys. No. I am not simping for a 2D grandma right now. Anyway, over the show, Sayuri's condition worsens until we find out that she doesn't have much longer left. Chizuru continues to fail auditions and starts to worry that she might not be able to make her dream come true. At her wit's end, Kazuya then declares that he wants to help her make a movie by starting a crowdfunding page for a movie starring Chizuru, working his ass off, and actually making a movie starring Chizuru. They then go check out the movie venue they were planning on showing the film at, and Sayuri insists on coming along despite her worsening condition. Honestly, it was pretty clear from the get-go that this was a huge death flag. Predictably, she then collapses in the middle of the day and is taken to the hospital, where she is either going to make it or break it that night. Obviously, Chizuru is very affected by this and sits next to her pretty much the whole night. As Sayuri's condition clearly worsens, Kazuya then does the only thing that I will give a small amount of respect to him for, which is to get a projector director and the freshly finished movie, and to play it in the hospital room so that Sayuri is able to see her granddaughter on the silver screen before she passes on. It's actually a really heart-wrenching moment in my opinion. As much as I fucking hate Kazuya a lot, I do think this one moment was really good, and I do admit that I did tear up a little bit, especially because we didn't fucking hear Kazuya speak or interject with an annoying inner monologue. Like, he just comes in silently, does his shit, and leaves the two alone. And I'm just like, why can't he be like this for the rest of the fucking show? Anyways, we then get to see Sayuri and Chizuru's last interactions with each other as Chizuru bawls her eyes out, and I also admit that I cried like a fucking baby during this scene, okay? TV shows can make me emotional, okay? Even if they're shitty. And like, this girl is losing her last family member in the world. I feel like it's kind of hard not to feel a little bit of sympathy. I personally think this arc was kind of good and really tragic. I was surprised that I was even this affected by this garbage ass anime. I don't know if I'm giving Rent-a-Girlfriend too much credit, but I actually did like this arc. It's just too bad that this show is a harem anime, so none of this fucking matters in the end anyway. Despite going through so much at once though, Chizuru continues to smile through the pain, as I'm sure many of us also do. And even after losing her last living family member, she continues to stay strong, not letting her smile falter no matter what. But of course, eventually, like any other human, she reaches a breaking point, and we get this scene of her crying her eyes out on Kazuya's chest, and I'm just like, oh my god! Finally! Some character development for both characters? Maybe the relationship will take a step forward? Oh my god! To be honest though, there was a certain point where I went from feeling bad for Chizuru to feeling just as exhausted with her as I was with Kazuya. And this was after this entire fucking story arc. The next time the two are together and Kazuya tries to bring up the night before, Chizuru literally just cuts him off and pretends like it never happened while talking about something completely different. I get being tsundere. I get hiding your emotions or acting strong or whatever the fuck this is, but at some point, it's like as frustrating as Kazuya's issues of never changing. Like, sure, she shows signs of crushing on Kazuya behind the scenes, and so we as a viewer know how she feels about certain things, I guess, kind of, but not really. But as far as Kazuya knows, she could still just see him as a client and a complete stranger, and he wouldn't really know the truth, I guess, because she like goes out of her way to refuse to show any genuine emotion around anyone. This entire relationship between the two is a constant one step forward, two steps back. Time and time again, we see a small tease of an actual relationship forming between these two, only for the show to say, go fuck yourself, and basically make everything the way it was in the first episode. I get that these behaviors happen, you know, people do act this way, but dog, I'm trying to watch a fucking show and be entertained, okay? Not eternally being blue ball. Holy mother of God. Unfortunately, this incredibly dramatic and sad arc about family and death is overshadowed by the show going back to the same old shitty annoying ways as before. Like I said, this show takes one step forward and two steps back. This arc with Chizuru's grandma and the effects it had on Chizuru and Kazuya was one step forward, but then they decided to take two steps back by continuing to play this ambiguous game of will they, won't they? Fucking hell, man. I at first thought that Chizuru was a pretty well-written character, you know, with the tragic backstory and dreams of acting and whatnot, but after this whole fiasco, I take it all back. These two are as unchanging as each other. They're a perfect match, okay? Whatever. And the saddest part is that despite all of this, Chizuru still feels somewhat more like a plot device than an actual character at times. I feel like I could tell you a lot about her, but also tell you nothing much about her at the same time, because it feels more like a bunch of sad plot devices put together in the shape of fan service to make a really compelling character without any actual depth. I don't know if what I just said makes sense. It's like a bag of chips. From the outside, it always looks full, but when you open it and all the air comes out, you realize that they scammed the shit out of you and only like 30% of the bag is actually chips and the rest was just air. And that's what Chizuru's character feels like to me, except I guess instead of air, it's more like fan service. Real talk, this whole relationship is just a fucking mess, and it really sucks in my opinion. And at some point, I even question myself, do I even want to see these two together? I mean, they physically struggle to barely communicate as regular friends for most of the show. How does anyone think they could ever be in a healthy relationship with each other? At some point, it's kind of clear that if these two dated right now, it's just gonna be a shitty cyclical relationship. These two clearly need to fucking go through a lot of changes in their mental well-being before actually being able to maintain a relationship, because it's one thing to actually get into a relationship with someone, it's another to actually cherish it and maintain it, even if that means changing something fundamental about yourself. I don't even really see their chemistry, bro. It almost feels like Kazuya only likes her because she's attractive. We get way too many fucking monologues of Kazuya lusting over Chizuru's various body parts. Like, it all feels way too superficial to feel genuine sometimes. I just can't with these two idiots, man. It's also really annoying because this whole rented girlfriend thing between them makes it even more ambiguous, and it's just used as an annoying recurring plot point for the author to go back to in order for the show to go on for longer. Since their relationship is considered client and rented girlfriend, or they never establish anything beyond that, the relationship is kept ambiguous the entire time. Clearly, you two are at least friends at this point. I mean, it's basically just an infinite money glitch in real life. All in all, this relationship is one of the reasons why this show sucks ass, which is not great because this relationship is what the show is entirely centered around. So I mean, that's the gist of our main plot and the two central characters, but what about the other characters in the show? Let's start by talking about Mami. I can sum her character up with a single question. Remember when she was a main character? The show made her seem like a big deal in the first season, but she disappears into the abyss at like the end of season 1. It feels like she was literally forgotten until the last episode of season 3. Mami is the reason why the show's plot began in the first place, because she was Kazuya's first girlfriend who was really weirdly distant and ended up breaking up with him. Clearly, she didn't like him, but at the same time, it seems like she does. The show is never really clear how she feels about Kazuya. Mami seems like a very sweet girl on the surface, but has a really dark personality beneath, where she basically just fucking hates everyone and talks shit about people on her Twitter account, which sounds very healthy. And we see this when her eyes become hollow and her tone becomes really evil or whatever the fuck. Her entire character is a confusing mess of nonsensical logic. She breaks up with Kazuya and blocks him, seemingly cutting off all ties with him, telling him that she likes someone else, but then gets upset when Chizuru appears and then starts to chase Kazuya again. Girl, like, come on. You broke up with him, now you're trying to get back with him even though you blocked his ass on everything? What is this backwards logic shit? And in the show, it's never really explained what is up with this fucking girl, okay? It's insinuated that she might have something going on at home. Maybe she has an arranged marriage of some kind. Who knows? It seems like she had personal reasons to break up with Kazuya in the first place, but like our titular main characters in this damn series, she is allergic to being honest about anything to anyone. So we don't know. Does she actually like Kazuya? And is that why she tries to keep getting in between Chizuru and Kazuya? Is she jealous of the two? Or is she just angry? Does she want to love Kazuya or want revenge on him, or all of the above? I don't know. Nothing about her makes any sense, but at this point, I don't care anymore. It's been too long for me to care about this character. That is basically all I got on Mami. Next, I'm going to talk about Sumi. If I was at gunpoint and forced to choose a favorite character who isn't Sayuri, I think Sumi would probably be my favorite character. To be honest, she's way too pure to be in this disgusting show. Well, she's not really that important of a character. She was one of the only characters who I actively enjoyed watching, and there's a few reasons for that, but the biggest one is that, well, she actually changes. What? Really? Character development and rent a girlfriend? Sumi is a very socially anxious girl who decided to become a rental girlfriend in order to break out of her shell and to grow as a person. But this isn't really going well, so she asks Chizuru for advice. Chizuru then asks Kazuya to take her out as a rental girlfriend to practice, and he agrees. At first, Sumi is very shy, but seeing as Kazuya seems to understand her, she starts to feel comfortable with him and see him as a true friend. And maybe even more than that, as she literally confesses to him at some point, but oops, her voice was too soft, so he missed it. Bruh, I'm glad he missed it because she deserves way better than Kazuya anyways. There's a scene involving Sumi that made me lose basically any shred of respect I had for Kazuya. They're at the bowling alley and Kazuya goes to get something. He comes back to see that random men are sexually harassing Sumi, and guess what Kazuya does? His first instinct is to hide and watch this happen for an uncomfortably long time. He just stares as 3 creeps get up on Sumi, who finds herself paralyzed and unable to do anything from her fear and anxiety. Kazuya, seeing this, just watches and actually considers fucking waiting it out to see if they leave her alone. Like, huh? Is he for real? He's seen this girl that he's supposed to be the boyfriend of, and he just wants to see if these guys would just leave her alone if he waited and hid here. Is he for real? The only reason why he actually ends up going out there to help Sumi is because, oh, this is a request for Chizuru and she would be upset if I messed up. Not because there's a person that I'm with who looks like she's in dire need of some assistance right fucking now. It is just absolutely pathetic. I understand being scared in the moment, for sure. I personally think I might also be a little scared if I'm suddenly thrown in a situation like this, but at the same time, really, dude? You're gonna fucking hide and watch? Enough about Kazuya. I don't even want to talk about him, okay? Sumi is the goat of the harem, in my opinion. She's the only character I feel like we saw any actual character development with. We do see her slowly but surely begin to get over her social anxiety over the course of the series, mustering up the courage to say or type her thoughts out loud, which I guess is like the bottom line of character development. But hey, in this ever unchanging series, I will welcome any sort of change, okay? I'll take whatever I can get at this point. And although I think Sumi liking Kazuya is an awful plotline because she deserves someone way better than this fucking asshole, I also think I enjoyed their chemistry most out of all the characters. I mean, Sumi's kind of a simple character, I feel like. She's someone who Kazuya can turn to when he's unsure of something to do, and the two seem to share a genuine friendship that I feel like can't be said about a lot of the other characters. There was one moment where the two end up sharing tears about either of them being unable to do anything to help Chizuru while she was going through the loss of her grandma, which I admit really did catch me off guard. The episodes with them together weren't constantly full of unneeded bullshit drama. A lot of it was just wholesome fun times, other than the moments where Kazuya, you know, inevitably sexualized her in his inner monologues. But whatever, that's just Kazuya being Kazuya. I'm trying very hard to give it a fair assessment, y'all, okay? All in all, I appreciated Sumi's presence in the series. Why out of everyone does she like Kazuya? Huh? And I'll briefly talk about Mini. I don't really have that much to say about her, to be honest, because she only appeared starting from season 3, but she gave me a much needed reprieve from all of the other bullshit that the show would constantly shove up my ass. Mini felt like the first glimmer of hope that this stupid ass romance between Chizuru and Kazuya would actually go anywhere worthwhile. She actually said shit like it was and was way too blunt at times. She directly calls out Kazuya and Chizuru for liking the other and even tries to orchestrate opportunities for them to get closer to each other. I won't even lie, she's a gacha gamer. She's honestly me. She's super quirky, calls Kazuya boss. I mean, it was a much needed comic relief character. Other than that, I don't really know much because I only watched up to season 3. I do actually like her character, if only because as someone who has spent money on gacha games before, I finally feel represented. And there's other characters I could talk about, like Kazuya's grandma, who is low-key kind of insufferable. I thought she was funny at times, but most of the time, she felt way too extra about a lot of things and was kind of imposing her own desires and wants on other people. And then there's Kazuya's gooner friends, who are just as, if not even more depraved than Kazuya himself. One of them is just kind of annoying and dumb, and the other one I just feel bad for. And if you've seen Rent a Girlfriend, then you know that I've been saving a certain relationship in the show for last to talk about, because I truly think that whatever bullshit anyone can say to tell me that Kazuya is a good person truly dies with this relationship. And it's his relationship with Ruka, who is someone that genuinely, for God knows why, likes Kazuya for who he is. The way Kazuya treats Ruka throughout the show is absolutely unforgivable. It was the one thing about this show that actually made me feel kind of angry while watching it because of how stupid this whole subplot between these two was. First off, Ruka is basically a plot device in the shape of an anime girl. Straight up, she is not a person or a character in the anime, but a breathing, living, walking plot device. Ruka comes out of nowhere and suddenly wants to date Kazuya without much of an explanation. She even rents out one of Kazuya's friends in order to go on a double date with Kazuya and Chizuru in order to get closer to Kazuya. She constantly checks her heart rate throughout the series, and I'm assuming that this has something to do with why she's so in love with Kazuya to the point of like genuine concern, but it's never truly told to us by the show, at least in the anime so far. And if there is a reason as to why she's so in love with him and like this heart rate has to do with it, I'm gonna be honest, it is way too late for me to even give a shit, because regardless of what the reason is, the way he treats her throughout the series shows that she just deserves way better than this piece of shit in the first place. She falls in love without much explanation. He agrees to let her be his trial girlfriend, and Ruka clearly does like him for who he is. She clearly wants to be his actual girlfriend for one reason or another. One of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. Why the f does she like this piece of shit? To be fair, Ruka does do some unhinged ass shit throughout the series to make this relationship into a reality, going as far as crashing family meetings with Kazuya and Chizuru and trying to worm her way into Kazuya's family's graces, or coming up with insane plans to sleep over at his place, or learning where he works at and getting a job there to spend more time with him. I don't think Ruka is completely innocent either, because some of the shit she does is a little ridiculous, but at the same time, Kazuya just treats her like trash anyway. Ruka's entire personality is basically, I'm gonna make Kazuya into my real boyfriend. I don't even really know if she has any hobbies, where she goes to school, what the f she studies, whatever, all this stuff. All she is just a plot device that's meant to produce artificial drama where there really shouldn't be any. And throughout the show, Kazuya is just super shitty to her, man. He always acts like he doesn't want to be there with her, acting super cold and super distant, or when she is talking to him on the phone about her life, he's not even listening. He just responds with one word, completely disinterested in the conversation. And even on her birthday, not getting her anything for a gift, despite them technically being in a romantic relationship. It's almost like he treats her as an inconvenience or like an item or like a pest, and clearly doesn't like her back in the same way that she likes him, yet continues to string her along,
even almost actually asking her out to be his girlfriend until Chizuru came back around and he immediately took it back.
No shit, she's she's gonna just keep being fished back into love with you if you keep saying that kind of shit. Save her some time and energy and just fucking break up with her, man. Tell her how you truly feel. You're in love with Chizuru. You can't be with Ruka. And this is a problem that Kazuya can solve in like 2 seconds. I'm sorry, I don't like you back in that way. I only see you as a friend and I don't think that's ever going to change. Done. Boom. Problem fucking solved. Sure, she'll definitely be sad, but I think it's more fair to not waste her fucking time and energy on your stupid, pathetic ass than not. This dumbass Kazu bitch cries about not having a girlfriend from the beginning of the show, but then spends the rest of the show literally treating a girl who genuinely likes him and wants to be his girlfriend like trash because his pathetic ass fell in love with a girl who he fucking rented in the first place. This is insane, bro. Time and time again, he has played this game of push and pull with poor Ruka, knowing that she genuinely actually likes him for who he is and that she is basically the girlfriend that Kazuya has wanted since the beginning of the show, but he just can't give up on Chizuru, which is fine. You do you know, you like who you like. But if you know that, then fucking cut Ruka off, right? It's infuriating when there's scenes of Ruka literally crying and actually being hurt, and this dude is just like,
well, anyways, oh my god, Chizuru has nice ass.
There are moments in the show where Ruka, whose love for Kazuya is almost treated as a joke, but then there are also moments where she's clearly hurt by something Kazuya did or said to her, and then he always gives this like wishy-washy apology and continues to put this girl through bullshit, then gives us this whiny ass self-pitying inner monologue of, oh my god, Ruka is such a good girl, how can I play with the feelings of such a good person? Bitch, just fucking break up with her then. Are you dumb? Unbelievable. Again, the weird fucking love bullshit happening with Chizuru, Kazuya, and Ruka can all be solved just by fucking communicating honestly. The minimal level of communication. But these characters are incapable of doing so, and it's incredibly infuriating to watch. I get doing this for like a season. I cannot stand this for more than 3 fucking seasons. Ruka and her stupid subplot with Kazuya is easily the worst part about this whole series. It does make the show genuinely hard to watch. All in all, Ruka deserves better. I don't even really know if I like her character or not. I think Kazuya should either have dated her from the beginning and broke it off with Chizuru, since they weren't even actually dating anyways, or told Ruka that he's not interested in her at all, while he goes to spend thousands of fucking yen to go out with a girl who is being paid to fake like you. Ruka deserved better from both Kazuya and the writer, bro. And after all this, they expect me to agree that Kazuya is a good guy? Kazuya is not a good guy. He's just a good guy when it's most convenient for him, like when Chizuru needs help or when Chizuru wants something. But if he was really a good guy, then he would actually respect Ruka's feelings and actually break things off with her so that she can find someone who will actually treat her like a human being. No, Kazuya is not a good guy. He sucks major ass. And the show tries way too hard to justify his shitness and never changing attitude. So that's basically what I have to say about the story and the characters of this anime. It was certainly quite the ride. I did laugh and I did enjoy very brief moments of it, but most of it felt like I had my legs attached to a horse who was dragging my ass back and forth the farmlands. I don't think it's the worst anime I have ever seen in my life, but it's certainly up there with some of my least favorites. I just think the writing is so trash that I cannot get past the fact that I watched 36 episodes just to end up right back where we started. I mean, sure, I can give credit where credit is due. This show is not boring. It can be kind of entertaining at times. At first, I really couldn't stand this show, but as more of the quirky cast got introduced, I started to find some of the drama entertaining because of how stupid it all was. This show is like a reality show. It's trashy, dumb bullshit, artificially crafted drama that really holds no value in any way, but at least it's an entertaining car crash that you just cannot keep your eyes off of. That's how I coped watching through this show anyways. This show feels like a vain attempt at telling a deeper story about loneliness and love. It feels very vanity driven overall. Like, it's always about how hot these girls are. I'd understand it a bit more if it didn't spend half the time sexualizing the characters. The fan service isn't even trying to be subtle anymore. Like, it's just like there and you know it's there. Everyone fucking knows what this is about. You get a lot of imaginary sex scenes where Kazuya just imagines the girls naked more than a concerning amount of times. But yeah, obviously they don't really hide the fan service in this show, and Kazuya describes the girls' body parts in really detailed and unnecessary ways. Every time someone bends down, you can almost guarantee that there will be some kind of in-depth commentary about how nice her ass looks and whatever clothing she's wearing that day. It's just, this the same old bullshit. Okay, let's be real. It's one of the reasons why this show is not taken seriously by people. Almost like this show is more about the fan service rather than the actual story behind it. I did come across an infamous chapter of the manga while doing a bit of research into the series. Chapter 2 218. This chapter has become infamous and a bit controversial, with many readers criticizing the author over his, well, unique storytelling choices. Apparently, this chapter was right after Kazuya actually tried to confess to Chizuru, but then Chizuru cuts him off and runs away from him. So, you know, there's Kazuya being pathetic as ever, which just shows that literally nothing has changed even after where the anime left off. But then there's also literal pages of Chizuru getting straight up f***ed by this other dude, and the chapter ends up with Kazuya getting hard in the pool. Imagining Chizuru getting destroyed by another man while crying. Confirmed Kazuya is a what the f has happened to this series, man? The author is telling the world that he is indeed a which, hey, more to power to you, but also, damn, that's a lot of bravery, buddy. Anyways, I won't talk too much about this chapter. I just think it's super silly. Even the premise of the show itself is literally about paying money to rent someone to give you fake plastic love. You know, I'm gonna judge the book a bit based on the cover type of thing. I mean, I don't know. Renting a girlfriend because you're lonely isn't something I would personally do, unless this video gets like 1 million views and like 20,000 likes. Then maybe I'd consider renting a girlfriend or boyfriend and filming the experience and posting it on here. And as much as I don't intend to look down upon anyone who might participate in such an activity to cope with their loneliness in today's world, because I truly do understand that feeling, I also cannot imagine how I can feel happy if I try to buy fake love for myself. I do want to talk about the author Reiji Miyajima and his, well, interesting tendencies. For one, when asked if any parts of Kazuya reflected his own personality, Miyajima stated that they both have trouble dealing with emotional pain. Like Kazuya, there are things that I cannot endure no matter the effort, like dealing with pain, Miyajima said. I say what I want through Kazuya. As a result, readers tell me the story is funny and relatable, and that helps me emotionally. And while this is interesting and all, I guess we can kind of tell what this man is into based on more recent later chapters of the manga, if you know what I mean. Apparently, there was a lottery for one lucky fan to spend a day with a life-size figurine of Chizuru, and a dude actually did end up going on a date with this life-sized anime girl doll, even uploading a picture with her. No matter what you might think of him, hey, if he's happy, I guess I won't really say anything about this. Then Mr. Miyajima over here responded with his own image tweet with Mizuhara, writing, "I've been on a date. No objection," in Japanese. Now, this could be trolling or a way to promote his series, but also apparently he has a tendency to portray Mizuhara as his actual girlfriend in his real life, almost being kind of possessive about her. I don't really know. I mean, apparently this guy also has an actual wife and kids, so that sounds like quite the family life. I don't know. I'm gonna be real with you. I have absolutely no idea what the f is actually going on, but I'll leave you to be the judge of that information. And while this show does suck ass in my opinion, I do think there are interesting things to discuss about loneliness in the modern day and how it might contribute to the popularity of a show like Rent a Girlfriend. Obviously, enough people watch the show if they continually keep making new seasons of it. Now, this next part of this video is gonna get a bit sappy, and I might be opening up a little bit about my personal feelings. So if you're not really into that, well, my bad, I guess. Personally, I cannot understand the concept of renting a girlfriend or boyfriend. I would feel really sad if the other person I was supposed to be dating didn't genuinely like me back. I don't know how someone could be happy by renting out hollow and unrequited love, but who knows? Everyone is different. I think we live in a world where, despite the internet existing, people are feeling lonelier than ever before. I mean, it's really easy to see this. From a single Google search, that'll just pull up a bunch of articles talking about higher levels of loneliness being reported year after year. I'm sure in many places throughout the world, the loneliness epidemic continues to spread like a virus. And yeah, people want romantic relationships. I mean, it's human after all. Wanting love and to be loved is, well, human. And I mean, at this point, it's pretty much common knowledge that Japan's birth rates are going down. People don't want kids, or they're just not dating as much as before. A large portion of young adults, particularly men, have reported to never been on a date. Factors like a demanding work culture, social pressures, and just difficulty meeting potential partners all contribute to the loneliness epidemic in Japan. It's to the point where the government is planning on launching an actual dating app to combat this issue. No wonder a show like Rent a Girlfriend would be so damn popular, because it fulfills a feeling that so many people want, yet feel like they can never actually get or experience. People are feeling so lonely that they have to turn to artificially crafted forms of love in order to cope with it. And there's just something genuinely sad about that to me. Not in like a pitying way. I know I sound sarcastic a lot, but it is genuinely sad. It's not just Japan either. People are feeling feeling lonely worldwide. I mean, I felt lonely, and I'm sure you felt lonely. We try to find a way to cope, to deal with that sort of unexplainable emptiness you feel inside. Feeling lonely sucks, but I'd rather be lonely and single than in a relationship with a fake partner. I just feel like I'd feel even lonelier on a date with a rented girlfriend, knowing that she has no actual feelings for me, but rather is just doing this out of financial obligation. Actual love is not a financial transaction. At least I like to believe so. I think a big reason why I really dislike Kazuya is partly because there are aspects of his character that I can personally relate to. Not the fucking perverted parts where he can't control himself around a single molecule of a woman, okay? That's a little too degen for me. But some of the other internal conflicts he has, as someone who struggles with anxiety, I can understand and relate to when he overthinks about what the other person might be thinking or feeling. As someone who used to struggle a lot with my mental health and self-esteem, and I still sometimes do, I can understand Kazuya constantly thinking he's a bother, that he's only a problem for that other person. Kazuya clearly doesn't care that much about himself and only lives for whoever he loves. I admit that I've struggled with similar thoughts in my life too, but never have I ever become a degenerate goon or god who cannot focus on anything else but a woman's tits when you're near them. That's just the fucking Kazuya issue, okay? And the thing is, Kazuya doesn't even try to change. Personally, I feel like I've struggled and I fall hard against my own mental bullshit, and every day I strive to try and change, you know, to unlearn my negative behaviors, or at least learn how to cope with my issues in a healthier way, rather than just looking for a relationship to distract myself from how much I hate myself inside. Can you really give love to someone else if you can't even really love yourself in the first place? I don't really know. I guess I say all this real personal bullshit about myself to say that I get being single and lonely fucking blows major ass sticks sometimes, but rent a girlfriend is not the right form of therapy for that. This wish fulfillment packed bullshit show with an unchanging main character almost feels like it's telling people it's okay to never change or to strive for better. It's okay to just give up on yourself because sex will just fall on top of your lap, just like how things seem to fall on top of Kazuya's lap in the anime. But life, you know, doesn't really work like that, unfortunately. But again, who the fuck am I to say about any of this? I'm just a dumbass YouTuber who does need to touch a little more grass. Yeah, anime is not reality, and I'm sure many people who enjoy the show aren't just lonely people looking for a source of comfort, but they just like the anime for the anime. Maybe it's nothing really that deep, and I'm just overanalyzing this. You don't really know how this kind of thing can slip into someone's mind as part of reality rather than just something that happens in an anime. I don't know. It's a complex topic, okay? It's not really easy for me to discuss without making a whole video about that. All in all, Rent a Girlfriend was an experience that I wish I had never gone through. This show just felt like one huge waste of time. If you enjoy the show, you do you, bro. But this anime was just definitely not for me. If I was to give a score to this show, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 10. And those 3 points are from Sumi, Sayuri, and Luca. Anyways, that's it for me today though. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe for more anime content. Thank you once again to Tokyo Tree and Sakurako for sponsoring this video, and I will see you all in the next video that I decide to make. Peace out.